off of a not one, not two, but a 3-game winning streak, the Chicago Bears take on the New Orleans Saints in Week 7. So I'm here to give you guys my preview and prediction and a final score at the end for this matchup. So make sure you guys stick around till the very end. So what is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Style back at it with another video talking, of course, NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. If you're a Bears fan, guys, please do hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Feeling much better here. Voice is kind of starting to get back. And yeah, got a lot to say about this matchup. Real quick before I do, let's give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, ProfitX. ProfitX is America's #1 sports prediction market where users play against each other instead of the books. And because of that, you will almost always get the best price on any totals, spreads, money lines, and player props playing on the site. And right now, guys, if you use my promo code FST, you can claim up to $200 in profit cash playing on the site. Terms and conditions apply, guys. Win real money predicting sports. All right, here we go. Let's start with the numbers like we always do. The Bears are taking on the Saints here at home, and this is a noon matchup. Let me just say, I am so happy that we are back in the boring 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock noon slate, because I was just getting kind of fed up with the whole prime time, Monday night, Sunday night. I just want to be back here at my nice little noon slate, you know, be able to watch the Bears early on Sunday, or I guess I should say in the afternoon on Sunday, and not have to stay up till, you know, whatever o'clock, all right? So I am happy about that. And so the Bears are taking on the Saints, like I mentioned here. On the 12 o'clock slate, they are a 4.5-point favorite. I believe this one up as high as 5.5. And the over-under is 47.5 for this one. So the spread does make sense. Obviously, the Saints are 1-5. The Bears are 3-2. And the over-under, again, I thought it would be maybe a point higher, but it's about where I expected it to be. So taking a look at this matchup here, let me just say that this has the potential to be a trap game, which I do not want. Let me explain. The New Orleans Saints are 1-5. But they are not a, hey, we're ready for next season already. Take a look at the New York Jets, 1-5, okay? The Jets, like, they look like a broken team, like an abysmal locker room. You know, it's just not working there. Players potentially giving up. That team looks broken. This team, the Saints at 1-5, they're competitive. They're well coached. I like Kellen Moore, the new coach for the Saints. They play tough. They play hard. They play physical. So they're a team with the guys that try really hard. And mind you, in their last 3 games, they have been fairly competitive. 31-19 loss to the Bills, okay? So everybody was expecting them to get completely trucked here in a 20-plus point blowout. That did not happen. Then they beat the New York Giants, who, again, look kind of decent now. They just came off, the Giants did, beating the defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Saints, who have their lone win of the season against the Giants, did that against a team that, again, beat the Philadelphia Eagles this past week. So that was now considered somewhat of an impressive win. I wouldn't say, obviously, the Giants are world beaters, but you get my point here. And then they just lost to the Patriots 25-19. So again, hanging in these games with these teams, it is not the case where they're just getting blown out left and right, and it's just been an abysmal showing by them. I'm telling you, Kellen Moore has these boys playing hard. Okay, so they're 1-5. They've been competitive, and defensively as well. This team, their numbers are fairly solid compared to what I thought they would be. I thought this would be a bottom 5 defense in the NFL. Instead, 18th overall defensively, 16th against the pass, and 17th against the rush. So again, a little less than, you know, halfway worse as far as, you know, the numbers, but we're not talking about the 30th ranked defense in football. So this Saints team is going to be a team that's not going to be a complete pushover. All right, you have to go out and still, you know, put up your best performance. I do not want a Cleveland Browns, Green Bay Packers, what happened in week, I think it was like 3 or 4 type of performance where the Packers just come in and they just expect to win the game, and then boom, the Browns steal that game from them. And the Bears, again, we're 3-2, 3 straight wins, but we're just not good enough to be able to overlook anybody. So I'm just saying, I don't think they will. Ben Johnson, he's too much of a psycho, too much of a mad genius to just overlook teams like this. He knows that this is, a team that's in the first year of his coaching, still building for the future and for the present. But he knows that he has to have these guys ready. So that's just the first thing I want to bring up is this cannot be a trap game where you overlook this football team. All right, let's dive right into the matchups here. So my first keys for the matchups here is going to be the running game. All right, the Bears running game got going last week against the Commanders. Let's continue to get that run game going this week against the Saints. Now, I just talked about how the Saints, again, are a team that plays tough, but you are still favored in this one. You should have a positive game script, and because of that, you should be able to run the football as much as you'd like. And we're going to have games coming up where we are going to need to run the football effectively and well. And I feel like DeAndre Swift, coming off his best game of the season, right, 100-plus rushing yards, he needs to see sort of that performance again, just to see that that's not a fluke, that's not an outlier, and that it can happen again. And it's not going to be just DeAndre Swift, right? You are going to have the offensive line put up that type of performance again, blocking for Swift. I want a little bit of Roshan sprinkled in there. How about some Kyle Menengai as well? It doesn't have to be a one-man show. We finally did see Roshan last week. So I need the run game to get going. That is, to me, going to be the big emphasis here because I just told you defensively, it's not like the Saints are a run funnel or a pass funnel, right? They play both areas decently. And, I went back and checked the numbers, right? The Patriots' backs did not have a good game. Neither did Cam Scatterbo with the Giants, but James Cook ran for 100-plus yards and 5.3 yards per carry. So, again, this Saints team, they don't have a clear weakness. And so what I want the Bears to do is build off of what we had last week with the running game, keep that going, run hard with DeAndre Swift. And the reason DeAndre had success was the type of runs we were having, the outside zone runs, not running him up the middle. That's just not his skill set. That's just not where he excels. So I want to be able to focus on that. And then the second key, so that's going to be the first key, by the way. So offensively, let's focus on the run game. That's not to say, obviously, you can get the pass game involved. Obviously, you want that to be the case. I'd love to get some big plays here for Caleb, over to Rome, over to, DJ. We'll see if he plays, and all these other guys, Luther Burden. But the focal point, I believe, is prime opportunity to keep the run game established. Let's go ahead and do that. Second key, defensively speaking, this is Dennis Allen's former team here, the Saints team. I just don't want to have any big plays here. And you know what? That's easier said than done. And you're all almost thinking like, isn't that obvious? But let me explain what I mean by that. So Spencer Rattler has played pretty well for the Saints. He's got 1,217 passing yards on the year, 6 touchdowns to 1 interceptions, a 91.9 quarterback rating. And, he's a guy who I feel like is going to try to chuck the football here. He's got a lively arm. And the game that they won against the Giants, he had Rashid Shaheed, his deep threat, go for 100-plus receiving yards. He had a couple of big plays in that game. And so that is what you don't want to happen here, which is you don't let this Saints team, get any sort of chunk plays on you. I definitely feel like they're going to be able to, hopefully, they're going to be able to, not hopefully, but they're going to be able to move the football on you because, like I said, they've been tough on these recent opponents, but you just don't want to give up anything big. So I don't want Rashid Shaheed to be able to get behind my defense. And all the other games he wasn't able to. The one time he did, they won that football game. So you see where I'm going here. And then with the running backs as well, right? Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, like these guys, you don't want to let them get off on these big long runs here. We just did a great job neutralizing Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt again with the Commanders game. Let's go ahead and do that with Kamara and Kendre Miller, who both get a decent amount of carries here. So no big plays defensively is what I'm looking at. And I think if we end up doing that, just keeping everything in front of you, right, I think the Bears have a very good chance at winning this football game. And to me, I think they will. So I am obviously picking the Bears to win here. I believe they should win this football game. They're the better football team. They're at home. They have the advantage here. All signs point to the Bears winning this football game. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do and pick the Bears to win here by a final score of 30-20. that is what I have here for you guys against the Saints. Again, hopefully it's not a trap game here. Ben Johnson, I don't think he overlooks teams. But that's my final score and prediction here. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts as always. Thanks for watching.